Good morning. Today I want to talk to you about the feeling of walking on eggshells in a relationship or friendship and how to navigate that. This is a tough thing to do. This is a tough thing to do. It's a fearful state. You're living in a state of fear. You're living in a state of anxiety. You're living in a state of wonder because you're wondering what will happen if you communicate your issue or your stress or your stance or your opinion. And so walking on eggshells, this is a tough one. If you're watching this video because you're in this position, I have compassion for you. My angle here is not necessarily to tell anybody what to do. I just want to speak about it openly. This is something that recently landed on my desk. One of my clients is going through this or was going through this. And we talked about it for a good hour. And I felt like there was a lot of motivation and a lot of direction, and most importantly, a lot of clarity in it. So I hope to provide you with some clarity and direction and motivation as well. My name is Sylvester McNutt III. I'm a best-selling author of 10 different books. My newest book, Live the Life You Deserve, available now on Amazon. My most popular book is called Care Package. It's a book about healing. That's also available on Amazon or Audible. So let's just get into this today. Walking on eggshells. I mean, I want you to picture it. I want you to actually picture it. You right now, your 200-pound self, or 190, 150, whatever you are. Just picture a whole bed of eggshells and trying to walk across it and without cracking it. Right? It's not going to happen. You're going to crack the eggs. You're going to have some scrambled eggs. Okay. It's going to happen. Get the omelet ready, get your green peppers, get your onion, get your veggies ready. You're going to have a nice little omelet. All right. Get some orange juice going. Breakfast is coming, because walking on eggshells is impossible. It's impossible. In fact, when you think about relationships, right? So let's pull back. What is necessary in relationships? I'm not talking about toxic relationships. I'm not talking about healthy relationships. I'm not talking about passing by people. I'm not talking about these relationships where you're kind of interested or kind of working with people. I'm not talking about these situationships. I'm not talking about on again, off again friendships. I'm talking about quality relationships where there's connection, where there's depth, right? Where there's honesty, where there's presence, where there's integrity, where there's love, where there's some harmony. And I'm not saying that these type of relationships that we're describing are void of stress and problems and issues and setbacks and pushbacks and speed bumps and turbulence. What I'm saying to you is, if we're talking about the dichotomy of a healthy relationship, what is one of the elements? What is one of the major elements? Probably the major element of a healthy relationship versus one that's not. Well, it's one word: safety. It's safety. And what we're all looking for, every single person who enters relationship, no matter if you're just looking to hook up, no matter if you're looking to just be friends with someone, no matter if you're looking to take advantage of them, doesn't matter if you want to marry them, we're all looking for levels of safety in the relationship, period. Doesn't matter if it's just a one-night stand. We're all looking for levels of safety. And I understand that I'm talking, yes, about like relationships, dating, and like friendships. This came to me as friendship, but I feel like there's overlap. So we're all looking for safety. All right. So like, if we agree on that, then we can keep going forward. We're all looking for some level of safety to a degree, right? We can agree on that to a degree. We're looking for some level of safety. Now that safety looks different for everybody. Some people are looking for someone who's rich because that will secure them financially. Some people are looking for people who are just like emotionally able to communicate what they're going through, because that lets them know, that lets you know that you're present in the relationship with them. Some people are looking for someone who's strong and mighty and willing to fight to protect them, quote unquote. Right? And there's so many other ways. Like some people are looking for someone that they can just they have something that's nerdy about them that they don't share. Maybe they sing really good, but they're embarrassed. So like a partner for them or a good friend for them is someone that they can just sing around. Right? It's like maybe you draw and you're like, man, I just wish someone could witness me drawing. No matter how you split it, what we're talking about is safety. It's safety, safety, safety. That's the name of the game. And it's important, and I want to validate you in your experience, because feeling safe is necessary to be in healthy relationships. it's not necessary to be in relationships. Feeling safe is necessary to be in healthy relationships. I'm going to say it one more time. Feeling safe is necessary in healthy relationships. And that could be healthy friendships too. So when you're walking on eggshells, when you feel like you're walking on eggshells, what are you actually experiencing? Well, you're experiencing the feeling of anxiety. You feel anxious, right? You feel fear. You feel a little fear. You feel maybe worrisome. Maybe you're a little scared. Maybe you're a little scared. One thing you feel is a little apprehensive to be honest, to speak the truth, right? So in the situation that was brought to me, my client was afraid to tell her friend how she really felt about the way that her friend treated her. That's valid. So I asked her, like, why are you afraid? What are you scared of? Well, I'm just scared of how she would handle it because she would lash back out at me. She wouldn't really hear me. She wouldn't really, receive me. And I was like, okay. So that's when I identified, like, okay, you're walking on eggshells. So I said, do you have evidence of this? Or like, are you making this up in your head? Like, do you have evidence that you can't speak to her, that you can't share these deeper, more vulnerable experiences that you're having with her? And she had a little bit of evidence. And I said, okay. And I was like, well, you have an option here. You can take the data that you have and trust that that is the data and that nothing will change. And you can just roll from there and make your decision from there. And the two decisions that you can make from the data point is option one, I just accept that around this friend, I can't be my full self. I can't be honest. I have to walk on eggshells, and I deal with that. Right? And if you want to do that, you can. You'd be a people pleaser. You'd be sacrificing the truth for, I don't know what you'd be sacrificing it for. Maybe the remnants of half a friendship. Option two is, the other path here, option two is you tell this person how you feel. And you tell them what you think. You tell them how they're impacting you. And you do that because that's what leaders do. See, what leaders do is we speak up on things that other people won't speak up on. Right? So you speak up because as a leader, you're responsible for the integrity of your friendships. You're responsible for the posture in which you choose to participate in relationships and friendships and partnerships in your job. Like, you're responsible for that. And that's what leadership is. Leadership is about who are you going to be when things aren't going well, or when there's turbulence, or when there's problems, or when there's stress. And so I gave her that speech on leadership to pretty much tell her that in this situation, especially because there's no violence here, right? Because if there was violence, you might handle it a little differently. But in this situation where there's no violence, a great leader here, given the data, if you want to keep this friendship, you probably have to lean into this conversation, this uncomfortable conversation. And the truth is, real relationships, real friendships have to make space for these hard conversations. And if you're unwilling to have these hard conversations, it's going to be very difficult for you to have that quality relationship you want, that quality friendship you want. So you can play around all you want with this surface level conversation. Like, you can play around all you want with I'm just going to keep the peace. I mean, you could play around with that all you want. But real healthy relationships make space for hard conversations. I'm not saying you need to, you shouldn't have to do it every day. We should not be having a hard conversation every single day in a healthy relationship. That shouldn't be necessary. But when the time comes, let's talk about it. So I left her with that. Now the next piece is, she gave me some more information that was alluding to the fact that this person, I don't want to say too much here, but because I try to respect everybody. Obviously, we're not going to say a person's name. This person also has a has a bad temper. Let's just say it like that. Like they have a bad temper. So, they have road rage. They may curse some people out. They may, they'll respond aggressively if met with that. And so my client has a great deal of fear because they've observed these aggressive, angry behaviors in her friend. And, one of the things I said to her, I was like, you got to think about this for a second, because you're a very soft, feminine woman. And what you're describing to me sounds like a boy. It sounds like you're describing a boy. Like this person is not only ultra aggressive, they also have no emotional control or emotional regulation of what they're experiencing. And that's like a teenage boy to a degree. And so I told her, I'm like, this is something you have to think about, is if you're trying to posture being a feminine woman, being a soft woman, how are you going to keep up with this masculine energy? But it's uncontrolled masculine energy. It's raging masculine energy from a woman. And I kind of gave her that, and she sat with it, and she goes, wow, all my other female friends are very feminine. This is the only one. And she said something. She goes, this friendship, what'd she say? She goes, this friendship is the friendship I have that has the most conflict. And I'm like, well, damn, like you have to observe. You have to observe this. This is the friendship that has the most conflict. This is also the only woman in your life that is the most masculine. And it's nothing wrong with being masculine. But and I'm just going to speak as a man, it's like, you have to understand your power. Like that's part of integrated masculine energy, is you understand your power. You understand, when to exert your power, when to tame it, when to control it. Like uncontrolled, untapped masculine energy is what boys often are. Right? That's why when you see boys, they're like, let's fight, let's rage, let's wrestle, let's play, let's mud. Like, and it's like, dude, like, it's breakfast. Relax. Right? And so a lot of the times it takes a man to like a man who's integrated to kind of tame that young, rowdy energy, because it's nothing wrong with it. Right? It's just about using your power the right way. And going back to her friend, it's like her friend is not using her power the right way. She's not using her energy the right way, right? She's operating from this like wounded frame. And that's what I told her. I said, look, you're on a journey of healing. You're being accountable for the mistakes you've made. You're working on your people pleasing and your boundaries. You're ending relationships that are not serving you, and you're asking these other relationships, to step up in the texture in which they're presented. But you're not doing that with this relationship. And so like I told her, I was like, I recognize like the potential grief that you may be experiencing from the possibility of ending this relationship. Like, I get that. Maybe you don't want to end it. I'm not here to push you to end it. I'm not about to tell you to end the relationship. But what you can't do is you can't play the middle ground anymore, because that's what you're doing. You're playing the middle ground of, okay, well, I don't want to piss this person off. I don't want to step on this person's toes. So I'm going to walk on these eggshells. And it's like, how empowered are you if you're walking on eggshells? How are you really going to take charge of your life if you're walking on eggshells? How are you really going to go to your next level if you're walking on eggshells? How are you really going to be the healthiest that you can be if you're walking on eggshells, because your nervous system is consistently triggered around this person? This goes back to safety. You want to feel safe. Your nervous system is safe in certain relationships, but in this specific relationship is consistently at danger, at risk. So how are you going to show up fully to this relationship when you feel attacked? So then we move to another conversation, and that is capacity. And it's like, look, we can do all the work we want to do on ourselves. And then we can have all the hard conversations we want to have with other people, which I do feel that those are necessary. But there comes a point where you have to understand people's capacity. People's capacity can change over time. It 100% can. As they heal, as they grow, as they mourn, as they lose people, as they grieve, as they develop more of a sense of themselves, as they get out of their wounds. I said you have to understand this person's capacity in this moment, right? And there's like two things at play here. Like the one thing that's at play is you have feelings about this friendship that have never been communicated. And the other thing at play is you're truthfully aware of what this person's capacity is, and you're giving into the hope that they can be a different person. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I would rather you live in acceptance, full acceptance of who people are. Because when you live in full acceptance of who people are, you're never confused about anything. Like I know who you are. I'm not confused about you. But when you live in like this middle ground, it's confusion. Most important thing in relationships is clarity. So if you're experiencing confusion, perhaps there's something that you might need to shift. Right? So maybe it's the conversation. Maybe you need to have the conversation. Maybe you just need to cut it off and end it and go that route. You probably have to get out of the middle ground, because the middle ground is not good for your nervous system. It's not good for your clarity and understanding of what the relationship is. Perhaps you have to go the leadership route and lean into the hard conversation. And when you do that, you be tactful and mindful, and you hold your posture and you hold your frame, and you don't necessarily attack them, but you're communicating what your specific issue is, and you're making sure that you're being heard, as well as holding space for them to communicate their self with you. You will hope that they hold space for you to actually communicate fully, because that will show empathy. And if they don't, so if you're walking on eggshells, I hope today's video podcast helped you. This is the Sylvester McNutt III podcast. You can listen on all the podcast platforms. If you're watching the video, you're here on YouTube. Maybe you're seeing a clip on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, you can come on over to the YouTube for the full thing. If you're on YouTube, drop a comment. Let me know, have you been through this? Have you worked through this? Is this something you're currently going through? What helped you? Maybe there was something that I didn't mention that might have helped you. So feel free to drop that comment below that could potentially serve somebody else. And if you're in this situation, just my last words on it is you got to have some compassion for yourself here. Compassion means love. Like you got to have some love for yourself. And so your friend, your person may not have the capacity to maybe honor what you're saying or what you want to say, but you got to ask yourself, it's like, what does it mean? Like I have a book called Loving Yourself Properly, right? And so like, that's the question. In this moment, loving myself properly, what does that mean? Does it mean I just shut up and walk on eggshells? Does it mean I communicate? What does it mean? And no one can really tell you. No one can really tell you. It's up to you to go inside and to listen to that intuition. Ask yourself, getting clear, what do I actually want? If you want to keep the friendship, you got to repair it. You can't play that middle ground. If you want to keep it, you have to repair it. If you don't want to keep it, then stop wasting your time. Stop dealing with this. If you don't want to keep the friendship, stop dealing with this. Deuces. See you later. If you want to fix it, then it's look, let's have this conversation. I need to talk to you. We need to have this conversation. Don't play the middle ground. Get all the way in, get committed, fix it, heal it, speak up on it, be patient, heal from it, or get out, end it. Don't play the middle ground. There's no love in the middle ground. There's no clarity in the middle ground. Get out of the middle ground. Thank you so much for your time today. We'll be back next week with another episode of the Sylvester McNutt III podcast.